This is a video that might be hard to hear. The reason of that is because it can bring to the light of consciousness the unconscious parts of ourselves. And with that, it can easily take us to a place of feeling guilty and how you feel every time is a communication. So even feeling guilty after discovering certain things about yourself is also a communication. We live in a time that I always title as the emotional dark ages. Now, I'm very aware that when I say this, it's not really understood to the full degree of what I'm trying to say. Whenever we hear something like, oh, we live in the emotional dark ages, we just think, all right, okay, we live in a time where emotions really aren't understood and we're working towards it. Like, no, we are so in the dark ages that collectively as humans, we are so unaware of what's going on. This is why my teachings is all about raising self-awareness. And because of that massive level of being unaware, there are so many behaviors in society that we believe are okay because we define them as normal. But normal is to conform to a standard. Now, if that standard is unhealthy, we still do normal. And normal is okay because everyone else is doing it. And becoming aware of all the unconscious behaviors that I have, I start to realize that, oh, I am actually playing a role in all of this. Whether it's playing a role in society or my social circle, which is my family unit. It's very understandable that when I am in unconscious patterns and behaviors, unconscious, I am unaware of them. These are things that were passed down to me from my caregivers and that I passed down to the next generation. Now, the reason I'm saying all of this is because I want to address a specific point. And that point is how we can help our children, how we can help the next generation of human beings in a much more emotionally healthy way, because we are all emotional beings. Now, I'm going to use the example, let's say that I have a son and my son is struggling in the moments where something might go against what he believes it should be like. Let's use a sporting event as an example. Let's say my son is playing football and every time that his team concedes a goal, he really struggles with that emotionally. It really affects him and he loses control. His emotions take over. And being a caring parent, I see this and I want to help my son. Now, there's many things that are worth understanding and knowing what is going on in this moment. We need to understand what's going on in that human being experience and as well as my experience as well. Now, the way humans work, especially in scenarios like this, is that we are being triggered to feel whatever we're feeling. Whatever is happening in the moment is because of a deep-rooted meaning that we're giving that is unconscious to us. This works for the young human being and the older human being. Now, in that scenario, what my son is going through is because of the underlying meanings that are given in the situation. Any meaning we give to any experience, to any situation, is based on our past experiences where we have created, where we have given birth to these meanings. This is why I say there is no should or shouldn't. Someone might look at that and understand the meaning that that child is giving and go, well, you shouldn't give that meaning. Like, that doesn't exist. The meaning or beliefs that we are giving about ourselves in those moments are because of our past experiences. So maybe in the moment where my son's team might concede a goal, the underlying meaning that he's giving, which he's unconscious of, is that because my team might lose, afterwards, people might make fun of me for it. I know what you're thinking. It's like, oh, well, it's only a joke. Everyone makes fun of each other. It's part of the sport. It's part of the banter. And this is what I mean by we live in the emotional dark ages. As a society, we are so unconscious of all of these normal ways of being, normal behaviors, that it doesn't allow us to truly understand and see what's going on. If we're brought up in a household where we're constantly making fun of each other, everything's always a joke, it gets to the stage where you can't put a slight foot wrong. Whenever you make a little bit of a mistake in anything, you're being made fun of. And that is actually shame. Being made fun of is shame. This is what I mean by it might be hard to hear this. So in the moments where my son may lose control when his team concedes a goal or they lose the game, it's about the underlying meaning that they're giving. That because this is going to happen, I'm going to be made fun of again, and it's shame. I don't like that because whenever I'm made fun of, it's like everyone's against me, I'm being pushed away. And again, don't forget, well, it's only a joke. No, this is how we work as emotional beings. There is no safety to being made fun of for a child. So let's go to the next step of the older human being. Now, in that moment where another human being, not necessarily a younger human being, but any other human being would be triggered to feel a specific way, that triggers my stuff. And it's very, very easy as a caregiver or parent in the moments where my child will be triggered to feel his wounds and parts that he has, that will trigger my stuff. And because everything we do is based on how it makes us feel, in the moment where I am triggered, that's taking me towards my wounds. That's taking me towards my suppressed shame, my suppressed fear, my suppressed anger. And the cause of that is because he's been triggered. So the way I stop me from feeling my stuff is by stopping him from behaving the way he's behaving. So what we tend to do, and what's kind of always work, is by forcefully trying to stop them from behaving the specific way that they are. But then in that moment, what I'm doing is I'm trying to correct behavior. I'm not trying to understand why that behavior is there. So what's the best solution for this scenario? Obviously, there's a lot to talk about, but let's summarize it to like 2 main bullet points. The first would be to go towards understanding the behavior that's happening, being more curious of why the behavior is there instead of trying to correct the behavior. My child has learned that failing is not okay. However that looks, whether it's through being made fun of in the moments where he may fail, or whether it's through being scolded and told off in the moments he has failed, or even as far as not getting a treat because he didn't succeed in whatever. Remember, it's about the underlying meaning that we're giving about ourselves. That's our unconscious beliefs. So anything that could be seen as a failure is unsafe. So what we need to do is we need to start showing them regularly that it's okay to fail, that they are accepted no matter what. Even if they fail at a test, they lose at the sports game, whatever that kind of failure is, it's okay. I still support you, and we're not going to make fun of you, and I still love you. These are things that we need to tell them instead of just presuming that they should know this, because these are the unconscious programmings that have been passed down through the generations, from my caregivers to me to the next generation. So I need to reprogram this conditioning, and the way that I do that is by actively communicating to myself as well as my children. And the other point is that I need to understand myself. In order for any human to be able to be there in an emotionally healthy way for another human, that work needs to be done on the self. I cannot help another human if I don't do that work on myself. The reason of that is because in the moments where the other human will be triggered to feel whatever, which is correct because it's a communication, if I'm also being triggered because of that, I can't hold space for that person. I can't hold space for my child. And forcing myself not to feel certain ways is actually suppression again, and it will not work. So I have to also do the work on myself. I have to raise my self-awareness about the unconscious meanings that I'm giving to myself in the moments where these things could be happening as well. Becoming aware about the unconscious programmings and behaviors and ways of being that have been conditioned down to me through the generations that I am passing along. The reason why this is a hard message to hear is because when we become aware of things like this, there's a tremendous amount of guilt. We love our children very, very much. They are us. When we learn that this conditional behavior is being passed down the generations through me, it's very normal to feel guilty. But we don't know what we don't know. We were never taught this stuff. We were never taught by our caregivers or school or the TV or anything. I always use the example of the bucket of water. If I gave you a bucket of water and I asked you to walk over a wooden bridge, and I knew that part of the wooden bridge was really, really weak and about to break, but I didn't tell you that, and you grabbed the bucket of water and walked over the bridge, stepped on the part of the bridge where it's really, really weak, and your foot goes through and it breaks. You lose your balance, fall over, and the water spills everywhere. And then you get up, walk the rest of the path, and you arrive at the other side with an empty bucket of water. Now, whose fault is it that the water spilled? It's very understandable. You might go, well, it's my fault because I spilt it. But it's not, because I didn't tell you that the bridge was weak and it was going to break. So because you didn't know what you didn't know, it's not your fault that the water spilled. And because we don't know what we don't know, it's not our fault that we're also playing a role in this unhealthy way of being and the conditional behaviors that we're passing down through the generations. This is a very challenging journey to be on. Everything I put out there is to help you on this journey of self-awareness, self-discovery of yourself. Self-discovery of all these parts of yourself and all of the unconscious behaviors you have, to bring them into the light of your consciousness, to be able to reintegrate and resolve any behaviors that you have, any suppressed emotions that you have, to know what a trigger is and understand yourself as an emotional being, which will help you to get to a much more healthier place, and in turn will allow you to be there for the people that you love in your life in a much more healthier way. If you'd like to learn more about how to raise your self-awareness, you can check out my online course that I have that goes deep into this understanding. In this course, I also teach you a very powerful exercise to assist you on this journey that you can use for the rest of your life. If you'd like to learn more about everything that's covered in this course, I'll put a link to the course in the description below. This is a challenging journey, so it's okay if you find it hard. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.